Hello and welcome to Moment of Truth on Labour Social. I'm Graham Hughes. The UK-India post-Brexit trade talks are apparently intensifying this week as Trade Minister Kemi Badenoch is in New Delhi today in what might be a futile attempt to iron out some of the significant wrinkles in any future pact. Having apparently learnt their lessons from the abomination that is our rushed and almost criminally one-sided trade deal with Australia, the government is, even by its incredibly low standards, taking its time over this one. Even though Boris Johnson promised a trade deal with India by Diwali last year, there are evidently some pretty major obstacles which both sides are struggling to overcome if either want to chalk up this one as a win. Funnily enough, they're almost the exact same obstacles that led the UK to block an earlier EU-India trade deal when we were part of the EU, namely whiskey and visas. Scotch whisky alone accounts for over 20% of the UK's entire food and drink exports by value. However, in India, whiskey has a 150% tariff slapped on it. If this trade deal was just about services, it might have been finalised by now, but this is a major sticking point. The Indian government is fairly prohibitionist in its outlook, and in various states in India, it can be difficult to get your hands on a Kingfisher beer, never mind a shot of Glenfiddich. The UK wants a massive reduction to this tariff, but in return, the Indian government want more visas for Indians to come and work in the UK, which, for the current Tory party, would be political suicide, as the only people left supporting Blue Kip are massive xenophobes who want nothing more than to pull up the drawbridge on the rest of the world and, I don't know, blast ourselves into space where we can finally be alone with our racist 1970s sitcoms and terrible native cuisine. It's a tough sell, but if we can't improve on our whiskey exports to India, there's not a lot else we can make significant economic impact with. Cars are theoretically a good call, as they drive on the left in India, but after Brexit decimating the UK car industry, it might not be enough to revive it. Another interesting point about all this concerns British Volt, the gigafactory deal for the North East that collapsed due to the government dragging its heels when it came to actually paying out the funding that had been promised. That deal has now been replaced by one with Tata, an Indian company which is setting up in Somerset instead. So why did they drag their heels for the British gigafactory but not the Indian one? Answers on a postcard to the usual address, 55 Tufton Street. However, as things stand, it's unlikely that the government will have anything more than an agreement in principle before the G20 summit next month. A trade deal with India could increase the UK's GDP by around £3.3 billion in 2035. Oh my God. Equivalent to the increase of GDP of 0.12% to 0.22%, a far cry from the 4% knock taken by the British economy by us leaving the EU. But with an economy that's been pretty much stagnant for the last 13 years, the Tories might not feel they have much of a choice. After all, beggars can't be choosers. Meanwhile, new trade negotiations between the EU and India are gathering pace, this time without the UK throwing all kinds of spanners into the works. As with all EU trade deals, it will not be rushed. It will be negotiated from a position of strength in the interest of all of the EU nations. There won't be a situation in which India has the EU over a barrel, as India needs the deal arguably more than the EU does. Sadly, that can't be said for lonely old Brexit Britain. And here's the kicker. Once this deal is in the bag, good or bad, we're running out of countries to do deals with. The rest of the world is a lot smaller, and opportunities for substantial trade deals are a lot more limited than the con men who sold us Brexit would have had you believe.